Afternoon. Yes, it is afternoon, 5 to 1. I just read the Daily Om. I do enjoy those. And this one was about aging. I forget what the title was, doesn't matter, because I chose, as I was reading it, Aging with Joy. I don't know about you, but this has been a bit of a challenge for me. My mother lived until she was 92, and she was very active, and but still at age 65, somehow or other she smashed her hand into the door and said, and she was angry, I mean, she wasn't smashing the door or anything, but she was banging against the door as I was leaving her to I had dropped her off from an occasion when we were out. And what is that? And she was just angry, railing against aging. And she says, I've done my work, and that's it. And it left an impression. In fact, when I went through the different stages of life up to now, they didn't really affect me too badly, the 30, the 40, and all that stuff. Didn't really. But somehow at 65, I got stopped in my tracks. And I wondered about that for some time. And then I got myself going again. But I realized that had been a statement, a very powerful statement from my mother, who had said, I'm 65, I've done my work. And there was a shift in who she was and how she chose to react and be in the world that affected me. Nobody else would have seen it, I don't think. But it affected me. And I think this is the important thing that comes to mind about this aging with joy. I think, and I'm going to do a lot of this, I think, because I know nothing. You know for yourself. I am a knowing for myself. Every individual has a knowing for themselves. I'm just kind of working my way through this aging bit because it's not easy. Aging is not for sissies, for sure. And therefore, aging with joy is what came to mind because I love to laugh. And if I'm not going to be having laughter in my life, if I can't be happy doing whatever it is I'm going to be doing, I'm not going to do it anymore. I've been like that for the last few years. If I can't have fun doing it, get out of my way, I'm not going to do it. And it was a very good choice. And it doesn't mean that I don't work hard, doesn't mean that I don't push through, doesn't mean that I still want to achieve. There's so much to learn. But it's a stance on how I choose to live my life. And I choose to live in joy. Even though sometimes maybe it's like you too, you get in front of the mirror and say, what's that about? I feel so young inside. I feel vibrant. And look at this old lady here in the mirror. And how does that happen? And how do I move through the world as this young chick that I feel? So the little quote that got me started on this was from the Daily Om, and it says, and it's written in your article, in each stage of life, there are wonderful experiences one can savor and valuable insights one can absorb. Every new decade, got that? Every new decade. And in fact, every new year brings with it wisdom, transformation, and growth, as well as ends and beginnings. Indeed, those were wise words from my day's message in the Daily Om. It made me remember that I remember as a little child, one of my things that I took into me to my detriment was, you're too little, you're not big enough, you're not old enough, you're not smart enough, it's blah, 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 blah. I decided as that little child to ingrain in my brain that I was not enough. I was too small. And I played small for decades. Even though I was able to look very smart and speak up very professionally, inside I was thinking they're going to find out that I'm too small. They're going to find out that I'm not big enough. They're going to find out I'm not that smart. Huh. We call it the imposter syndrome today, but at that point, that little girl, I abandoned my little girl at that age, that she was too little. And it has taken decades to break that away, truly, inside. And you'll know what I'm talking about. So, yes, as little children, we weren't big enough, old enough, smart enough. I wanted to, I remember wishing my life away. I think I'd do something with these glasses. I remember wishing away I was a big girl. And then I remember, oh, I wish I was a teenager. And then as I moved and got out of high school and took my teaching and so on, then you kind of thought about the wedding dress and getting married, and then you'd have a home and you'd be all grown up and so on. So it was wishing the life away. Of course, as I was coming up to my divorce, I was wishing that the divorce was not so painful and that was done and finished with, and that I could eventually one day get to be Sandra again, or get to be Sandra, period. I've always been chasing getting to be Sandra. And that is why I'm aging with joy, because I am Sandra in all my fullness. My challenge to you is to consider, are you wishing your life away? Are you looking in the mirror like me and saying, how did that happen? And how am I going to go forward into a full life of wisdom and many, many more lived experiences? That's my challenge for you today, is to consider how you are aging with joy, because it ain't for sissies. It is not for sissies. And you people, you sandwich generation, with you've got your senior parents and your children to raise, you're caught in that sandwich in the middle. It's a tough, every space is a tough place to be, but we can choose to take it on with joy. So when you're choosing the nursing home for your mother, be gentle. Try not to send her too quickly. Have a great day, everyone. It's Coach Sandra, compassionate queen of straight talk. You know that I'm not swallowing my voice anymore. I'm not swallowing my truth. You don't need to either. We just have to learn how to communicate and do it with a full heart. It's Coach Sandra, compassionate queen of straight talk. I know that you can do it, and you know that I can help. Get in touch.